Well, Elon Musk bought Twitter. And before you only watch a couple minutes of this video, you really should watch it to the end. I'm going to come up with some amazing points, and I want you to tell me if you agree or disagree or what your thoughts are. Because I've noticed a lot of changes. As Star Wars says, there's a tremor in the Force. You know, a few years back, maybe 10, Donald Trump got elected and he started yelling fake news. People started noticing that a good amount of the news was fake and had a lot of propaganda. And that's the sad part. But the good thing is people started to notice it and started to double check it more. And more people eyes started to open. Now, we'll elect officials like a president, senators, congressmen, etc. to work on our behalf. And we just don't have enough time. We're working too much. And that system works pretty good unless we get somebody crooked. And then, of course, it doesn't work so good. But overall, it does work pretty good because there's so many of them. Now, something has happened. Elon Musk buys Twitter. All of a sudden, he's invoking freedom of speech. And that is sad that he has to do that. And it's not just a law nationwide for everybody. I love how they twisted that. But freedom of speech used to mean something in USA at one time. And now we have to have a billionaire to buy a company to bring it back. And he's talking about making it private, very much like Telenet, where a lot of people that got banned on Twitter went to. And it's quite interesting how we have to get our freedom of speech back. So now we have to think about this. Not only do we elect our senators and our presidents, but now we have to determine our billionaires. If we buy from China, it doesn't affect our system whatsoever. But if we buy from some billionaire in USA, it affects our lives more than just buying. So, for example, if that billionaire does not believe in freedom of speech, and that is better for them, because now they can orchestrate how they make more money. So if they put all the shovel companies out of business and there's only one shovel company left and they own it, and now they charge triple for what that shovel's worth, well, they just put you into basically an area where you have no choice. And a lot of businesses try to do that. They've actually done that with the eyeglasses. If you wear eyeglasses, go do some research on that. But here we have a man like Elon Musk that is posting he wants freedom of speech. I even heard that Alex Jones is getting his Twitter account. I don't know how true that is, but that would be amazing if he was. I never watched him, but I believe everybody, in my opinion, should have the right to speak their mind. Whether it's true, whether it's not, and people need to judge for themselves. Now, what I have noticed in the last 10 years or so, people have gone one way, black or white. I don't know how the government has programmed people into that, but it never was like that in my life. So this is something new with the younger generation, I think. We always looked at everything as, you know, there's no way Trump is always right. There's no way Biden's always right. But at the same time, there's no way they're either wrong. They both do good and bad things. But it's not true with these agendas now. Like, you're either right, you're either left. There's no middle. There's no, hey, I agree with what Biden did there. Hey, he saved a lot of land. He helped the wilderness, whatever. That was a good thing. But it ain't like that anymore. It's either you hate Biden or you like Biden, one or the other. You either like Trump or hate Trump. There is no in between. And I'm wondering, is it because we've lost our freedom of speech? It's because people have been dictated to by propaganda to like one side. I mean, you can just see it with Ukraine. Anything talked about Russia on Facebook is gone. They removed RT, they removed all kinds of things where they were talking about news about Russia, whether it was propaganda or not, because our side talking about Ukraine is full of propaganda. Ukraine good, Russia bad. I mean, it is very, very sad on the directions that goes, where with free speech you get to see both sides. You get to hear about the Nazis of the Ukraine. Ukraine's not all Nazis, but there is a good high percentage of them there. And it's amazing how that actually got started again, and how that ideology was not snuffed out way back when all that was going on. But freedom of speech allows you to have an open mind. Now, if you eat one side and that's all you eat, well, you're not going to do very good. I mean, if you sit down and all you eat is cake, you're going to be a pretty fat person. And you're not going to be very smart or very intelligent. Freedom of speech has helped the USA grow on such levels, it's unbelievable. And Elon Musk has realized that when you suppress people from thinking freely, you not only prevent your company from growing, but you prevent everything. So, you know, when somebody can think freely, you may think as an owner of a company that what they're thinking, the idea is ludicrous and is completely stupid. And then all of a sudden, when you let them run with it, you find out at the end of that tunnel, you think, wow, this was a good idea. They thought of things you didn't even think of. So having freedom of speech leads to a freedom of mind. But at the same time, you can't eat everything that is fed to you, because there's obviously a lot of propaganda, which, you know, way back in World War I and World War II in 1940s and 1945, propaganda was the biggest thing that Hitler actually used. It was a good percent of his war engine, and it worked. And the funny thing is, even nowadays it works, and that part is sad. I mean, I see thousands of people on Facebook just sharing, I stand with Ukraine, I stand with Ukraine, and it's like they ignore it, they don't want to hear it, they just are completely programmed with it. You know, when they say the war's been going on 2 months, when it's been going on past 8 years, it's amazing. Now, at the same time, these people are deleting their Twitter accounts and celebrating because they don't want freedom of speech. But yet at the same time, when Memorial Day comes, or anything to do with these special days we put aside for our soldiers, they celebrate that and post those images like crazy and say, you know, I stand for freedom. But when it comes to when it comes to freedom of speech, they don't want that. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Their brain is completely one-sided and they see nothing. Now, Russia's not completely good either. There are horrible things going on both sides. And in my opinion, if I would like to say who's guilty between Russia and Ukraine, well, I'd hate to say this, but it's United States. There is no way for Ukraine to beat Russia. Russia has 2 to 3 times more fighting power and troops and everything else. And when you got a guy over there that everybody says does cocaine in Ukraine, and he's over there begging for soldiers from everywhere, you know he's going to lose. And we're over there sending weapons galore to them. All we're doing is sacrificing innocent lives, old children, anybody gets caught in the crossfire, the missiles, the bombs. It's part of war. And as soon as I see somebody from Western media, the United States media, show, oh, a 3-month-old child had been killed, I'm like, are you kidding me? Well, you don't think that happens in war? They're trying to pull on your heartstrings to create hate. And any newscast that does that should be an automatic, well, I don't listen to those guys anymore. They're a waste of time. And that's just the facts. It's going to be interesting to see where Twitter goes. Because if Twitter is able to keep its free speech, and Elon Musk is able to insert things that work, obviously it's going to be a big accomplishment for free speech, and I hope he pulls it off. I really does. And that means now I can't only just elect senators or vote for my president or vote for different people to run my country here in the United States. That means I got to look at billionaires and think to myself, okay, if they're going to get into social media and they're going to start buying social media, then what are their beliefs? Do they believe in free speech, or do they believe in controlling the media? And if they believe in controlling the media, then no matter how good that item is I'm buying, maybe I shouldn't be buying it, because I'm actually, with billionaires, you're voting with your money. Which is interesting, because that means if I buy something with China, I'm not voting on anything to do with my country when it comes to that. But if I buy a Tesla, I'm actually voting for free speech when I do that. So that's something to really consider, because now you're voting with your money, and it's becoming pure economics if you want to keep your freedom of speech or if you want to lose it. But there are millions of people out there that have swallowed this pill where they don't want free speech. They just want to be told what to do, and they're willing to delete accounts to lose their right of that. But at the same time, they share where they fought for that right. These people make no sense to me. You know, I say people shouldn't be on one side or the other, but when it comes to certain things like free speech, there is no left, there is no right. It's a yes, period. No matter how much it offends you, no matter what it does to your feelings, it's a yes. Because free speech is what made this country what it is today. And if we lose that, and we are slowly losing it, I have no idea what's going to become of it. And you can bet the other countries out there, they're watching. And they know free speech and a few other things give us our advantage compared to what other countries have. But anyhow, what do you guys think of Elon Musk buying Twitter? And do you believe we should be more aware of what we're buying from these billionaires when they're starting to control our lives in social media, like YouTube? Can you imagine if somebody like Elon Musk bought YouTube, what would happen? Oh my Lord. It would be amazing to have that freedom. I'll catch you guys on the next one.